How's it going, guys? And welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little bit. I've been incredibly busy lately with work, so I haven't been quite able to record as much as I've wanted. Although, this is a video I've been sitting on for quite a while. This is the post-season interviews that I have with the captains that made playoffs. I say post-season as a light term because some of these interviews took place in various different stages. I took two of them in the middle of week 7 before the playoff spots were even confirmed, and then two more I didn't get done until the semis series was actually taking place, or was even over in one instance. So this was not, this was definitely just one of those kind of instances where scheduling issues happen, and you just have to accept that. So I'm glad to at least be getting something out before finals properly begins, and after finals I will try and cover something else. Just in terms of, I might do another interview just with the winning team. We'll see. I haven't fully made my mind up on that. Anyways, just to kind of quickly preface, here are the standings as the season finished. With three of the teams making playoffs were not that surprising. And I think the top four in general wasn't that surprising. We'll get into it more as kind of the video goes through, but three of them looked not nailed in by the end of week 4, and, well, week 5, I guess. And one of them had a fairly up and down season that, looked like they might not even be making playoffs. Also, shout out to Make a Wish and Yoshi's turning around their pointless pre-mids to get 5th and 6th respectively. There was a point where it looked like it might have been a straight shootout for playoffs in that final week, but it was not to be due to an illegal Terra, which this is not the only time I'll mention that in this video. Anyways, I'm not going to keep you for much longer, and let's hop right into the interviews. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, if you saw the mid-season video, we have the Judgment Day making playoffs, and let's just say it was fairly comfortable. I'm joined by someone who I've attempted to get on this channel at least twice. Neither has happened, so I'm glad to say that I'm finally joined by Mr. Almighty Rye. And yes, I say Almighty on purpose.
What's good?
Yeah, because
Good
half
to
these
be on the
people,
channel finally.
yeah, half these people don't even know what Almighty even comes from because they're all children. But whatever.
Yeah, that's the legacy behind that.
Absolutely. God, we're old. Anyways, as I said, I was discussing with Addy during the mids vid, like you were sitting pretty, 2 wins and a tie, and it kind of just felt like all you needed was one good result against the Alliance, and you got that good result, and you've just kind of been coasting ever since. Do you want to kind of talk about your experience post mids?
Yeah, post mids has honestly been pretty chill. Yeah, it's nice for once to not like be scrambling to get every last point you can to try and like make it to playoffs because that's kind of how it's been for the past couple team tours I've done. Yeah, like after that Alliance series, yeah, we ended up facing Foxes and Armory afterwards, and those are both like playoff contender teams. So we kind of just approached it and like, we'll try out different lineups and experiment with people in different gens. Like you saw, I think Agency played Sword and Shield, like PZZ, like Ultra Sun and Moon and stuff like that, like Addy and SV, just to like number one, not reveal all of our cards like off the off rip um, before we play these teams in playoffs. But yeah, just to give people different breaks in their respective tiers for more variety.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in series like Foxes and Armory, who both kind of, at the time you were playing them, looked as nailed on for playoffs as yourselves. Kind of keep the cards close to the chest a bit. I think it makes sense. And I
Yeah.
think it's the first time in a long time where it's kind of felt like you have three very nailed on teams. And they've been three very nailed on
Hmm.
teams that were predicted from auction, which is also incredibly unusual. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I think when it comes to us, like Judgment Day, Fox's Armory, I actually think this is like a pretty unique case too, where I think all teams are very equal in like their players, right? Um, Maybe Armory less so. not like bashing any of the players. I just think like they may be. I think like the standouts from that team are definitely like the captains and Glock. Um, but I feel like at least for Foxes, right? Like our team layouts are very similar, and so they could definitely go like either way. I think like that's why we kind of saw like that tie between us and Foxes, and then like Armory. I don't really count that because they weren't really they didn't really feature like anybody in their primary tiers. But yeah, it will be interesting come playoffs.
Yeah, I think the Armory series would probably be the most interesting. Just this might age terribly. As you guys know, I'm recording these ahead of time because I'm a busy boy. But I think the Armory series will kind of be the most interesting to see, solely because that Week 6 series was very much like a free hit, almost for both of you.
Hmm.
Just kind of the way it's panned out.
Yeah,
But yeah, like you look at these
yeah.
records, it's absolutely insane. You only one person has gone negative. That's ridiculous.
Whose team? My team?
Yeah, yours. It's just Esther who could rectify that this week.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. You can.
Yeah. All you have to do is
Yeah,
beat VGC Hacker for God's sake. That's not hard.
yeah. I mean, everybody on the team has been doing well. Um, like it's. I was saying to you, before we started, like, um, this team reminds me a lot of Wings of Wrath that I captained with Sean back in DPL season 6, where like everybody's super independent. And it just makes for an easier time being a captain because you don't have to like spend hours on end each day, micromanaging every person on the team. Most people, I just let them cook, like let them do their thing, and then if they need like I don't know different prep help, I just ask them like what they're struggling with, and we'll provide it to them. But yeah, pretty much everybody's very independent, which just makes for a way better experience.
Yeah, 1,000%. Anything that can make your life easier as a captain, like 100%, you take it. And I think everybody kind of
Yeah.
knew, kind of coming from the auction, just how strong an auction he had. Just because, like,
Hmm.
you were already in a good position because the backbone you have of yourself and Oris and Addy and Swish. So all you needed was kind of a competent USM player, which you got for cheaper than you would have expected. And then you were just able to
Hmm.
kind of round that out with, a ton of high upside SV guys. And like all of a sudden it just
Yeah.
becomes a very difficult team to overcome, and that's just been the case.
Hmm. Yeah, that was one of the strategies that I was telling Addison like pre-auction was that my goal was to just load up on as much high level competent SV as possible because like me and Addy, we're not people who haven't played like the current gen. Like we've definitely had played it and have been successful. But at the same time, like I've never really single-handedly drafted for an entire team like SV drafts. So I wanted to just get the best possible SV players because I knew that like with me and Addison holding it down in old gens, if we could get the best possible players in the current gen, like that just makes for a super successful team, especially when 4 of the games are SV too. Like having the best players imaginable in that tier is what you're going to need for a successful team. And yeah, we've seen that with Judgment Day, where like um, agency and like your dunk and lax, like they've all been very solid so far.
Yeah, for sure. I guess kind of that leads me on to your thoughts overall now that we've kind of completed pretty much a full regular season. Just in terms of your thoughts on 4SV as a format, and do you think that's something that should be maintained, or do you much prefer kind of the flex system that was discussed a lot kind of going into this event?
Um, so for SV, I think is okay. Um, I don't really have too many issues with it, just because like when you look back at it for like I don't know tie breaks or like tie break situations or anything like that, or like even I think that DPL system right where they had the like each team could pick a tier to do. Every single time SV was chosen, like
Yeah.
by one team or the other. So I felt like most of the times, right, like there was 4 SV present. So at that point, you might as well just make it the extra slot. I also think too that the main downside of the flex thing was extra tiers of the old gens. Just because if you didn't have another very competent player in that tier, especially for like BGC, right? Like you're cooked. There's nothing you can do. And as especially as a captain who's not familiar with BGC, like having two VGC games in a week or something like that is just like nightmare fuel. So
Mm.
yeah, I'm definitely content with SV. I've heard some rumblings that people want to get rid of Oras. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like Oras is a staple of team tours at this point. So it needs to stay. I don't see why you would cut Oras over like Ocean and Moon or anything like that. Like at that point, if we're cutting old gens, I just feel like you just need to make the whole tour SV. But
Yeah,
um
there's
but
different
yeah,
tours for that.
that's my thoughts on it.
No, like
Yeah.
you do bring up a good point. I have also heard those rumblings, and we were kind of talking in terms of like, was the quality of ORS this season a bit different compared to something like DPL? And there is a constant kind of, there seems to be two different sets of players of like you have your DPL set of ORS guys and you have your DCL set of ORS guys. Just kind of the way it's panned out. It's also ironic coming from you,
Hmm.
who's like the only ORS guy that hasn't burnt out in the last year. But I do
Yeah.
think that'll probably be something to kind of come back to as a discussion in terms of like where modern day Horus is at. Like, I think, funnily enough, of
Hmm.
the vids that I did kind of prior, I feel like the Horus one is possibly aged the poorest. Funnily enough, just kind of, I think
Out of
people's,
all the gens.
yeah, I just kind of feel like people's opinions of Horus have changed a lot out of this event, which is kind of surprising because people have just kind of been like, oh, it's Horus, much of a muchness, it kind of ticks along. Oh, look, this person did well, shock. Or Josh's plot armor,
Hmm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um, I don't know. I think as long as Smogon continues to have uh, like their own Oras Cup, right? It gives people like new people the chance to try out the gen and learn it. So as long as that's still a thing, I feel like it's perfectly fine to keep including, um, because it gives people the avenue to learn the tier and possibly try it out in a team tour. Like you don't want somebody's first experience with Oras being in a team tour setting, but if you provide opportunities like the Oras Cup, like I feel like that breeds opportunity for new people to try the gen. Um, so yeah,
yeah, for sure. Or you do what your co-cap has decided to do and run an Oris only team tour. But I just
yeah,
can't I can't see
yeah.
that
I
going
was not
well.
even familiar that Addison was doing that. Yeah, I will not be participating because I do not like Sword and Shield, but
Mm,
um,
you're not alone.
hopefully that goes well for her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember mocking that game that agency played versus Aster, and I remember just honestly all season I just have very much disliked playing Sword and Shield. It's just not my tier. I just think that tier is like not good.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I
yeah,
agree. I agree with you. It's just when it comes to solo tours, for some reason, I do well in them, and I do not understand why. Anyways, we might as well just kind of
yeah,
briefly touch up on the drafts because obviously we would have done a lot of this pre-mids. Every team going at least neutral in SV, including good old double elephants, still here. Didn't
hmm,
get,
yeah.
but the main standout, of course, is this team five,
Oof.
which I think agency has been piloting most of the time. I think I've seen the most original gouging fire sets of all time throughout this season. Like it's actually kind of ridiculous,
Hmm.
but to be fair, really, really nice
Yeah.
team. Not really surprised that this team's done well. Anything that kind
Hmm.
of stood
Um.
out as surprising as the season went on? I know there was the early narratives of like Terra Mouse Hold, and they kind of disappeared a little bit. You know, Hydropple being
Yeah.
good, shock.
Hmm.
Anything you want to
I
touch on
think
particularly?
for our SV teams, first we can talk about SV5 since you mentioned already. That team, I think just goes to show that like Terra Keldeo probably needs a price raise.
Yes.
I have, after seeing all the games featuring Terra Keldeo so far in DCL, I have not once seen a bad Terracodio matchup. I'm not lying.
They
Like
don't
this
exist.
mon,
They don't really
it,
exist.
yeah, it feels the exact same as Zarude in the fact that this mon doesn't have a bad matchup. There's always a set you can make that will be successful. Like every single time, this mon is invincible.
Mm.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
As also too, I know prior to this DCL, I thought that gouging fire honestly needed a price decrease because that mon wasn't really being picked up and no one was really using it that successfully. It was just like a trade one for one type mon. But after agencies piloting, yeah, this mon
Keep it as is. Keep it
has a
as
lot
is.
of potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see why this mon is 16 points
Yeah.
because this shit is broken in the right hands.
Yeah.
Maybe in the
No.
right draft,
Yeah.
this mon is broken.
I'd say agency has single-handedly made the thing kind of have crazy usage come seasonal, because I think a lot of people will kind of
Yeah.
look at what agency's done and be like, oh yeah, I can fancy myself to do that, and we'll just kind of see
hmm
it from there. And SS,
Um.
obviously, unless you have anything else to say about SV, I kind of cut you off there. But
Oh, the only other things for SV is that um, I feel like the double elephant experiment was definitely cool. Um, but I don't think it's I don't think we'll be seeing this core again.
no, I don't think
No
so.
lie.
It was an interesting
But
attempt.
it was
We'll put it that way.
experiment. Yeah. And then the only other thing I have to say is Hydrapple as well is another just fantastic Terra captain. Um, on both the drafts that it's on in our SV teams, it's been a hard carry. Like this mod is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, you have your dunk on your
but
team. There's no
yeah,
surprise you have two of them. So
yeah. The Hydrapple Bros,
yeah,
they're putting
literally.
in the work.
Then yeah, just kind of quickly moving on to SS. I still can't believe this SS2 has never come as of week 7. It is coming this week. I don't honestly remember.
It did come this week. In Addison's match versus Theo.
Yes.
Um, however, it was not
Yeah.
successful.
Less
But
said
I
about
mean,
that game, the
it's
better.
fine. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Honestly, I think our SS1 and SS3 are just so good.
Yeah.
Um, Addison has been using SS3 very successfully, and it's honestly it's just a cool team, right? Like any team with Pangoro is drip,
Yeah.
and Porygon Z I was kind of skeptical of, but Addison has made it work. And every single time, like she she uses it, so it's been good. Honestly, I like our Sword and Shield teams a lot, even though I don't play the tier. This Coco Teeny draft with Hydreigon, I very much like.
Yeah. The
So yeah,
the transactions
good
made on this
draft.
team have definitely made it look a lot better.
Yeah, because that Sand team that we had
Was not
paired
it.
to mids,
Yeah.
trash,
Like you know
trash.
a team's bad when
The
it's
one thing
losing
I've
to
learned,
grassy terrain Comfey.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. One thing I think I was talking to Greg. I was like, one thing I've learned is drill, no matter what gen, is absolutely terrible. Terrible. Do not draft. That's like a PSA. Do not draft drill in any gen. Shit is ass.
yeah. It's
Anyways,
not 2018 anymore, where like drill felt like it was
yeah.
in charge of about 3 gens. But
Mm, yep.
but yeah, I feel like there's just not a hell of a lot to say about SS. It's like Addison's good at the tier that she solo tiers. Who's
Yeah.
surprised by that?
Yeah.
Genuinely.
I think her drafting definitely improved from like at least DPL when we were together. These drafts are
Yeah,
definitely way better than what we
yeah, for
had
sure. Like
prior.
that SS3 is just really good. And you are right about Pangoro. It's
Yeah.
like none of this bum ass, basic bitch scrafties over here. We're real men. Captain
Pangoro
Pangoro.
is fire.
Oh, for sure. Then you look at Usum. I feel like the Usum teams are just solid, like slight variations on previously done ideas. Yes, it does look weird
hmm
to kind of look at a Mega Mawile in this position, but like it
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, that team. Yeah, these Ultra and Moon teams, I'm very happy with what came out of post mids because prior to mids, the only viable Ultra Sun and Moon team I felt like we had was Ultra Sun and Moon 2.
Was two, yeah.
Which is why we saw, yeah, like Jake use it a ton. And yeah, that was like one of our biggest things was making another, at least one other viable team to use for him, right?
Yeah.
And I think we did a good job for sure because yeah, this Mega Loqp team has been used twice and it's won both times. And I really like that draft too. I think Z Scully is so good because it forces so much prep. And I think Slowbro 2 is a very slept on Mon in this gen. But I remember I was looking over our teams on Wings, right, back in DPL Season 6. And I
Mm-hmm.
know Aster was using a team with regular Slowbro. And yeah, like, I mean, the Mon is good. I think it's pretty reliable, even in this gen with Z moves. So
Yeah.
I really like Ultra Cinnamon 1. And Ultra Cinnamon 3 I'm using for the first time this week in week 7. Um, and it's definitely like a matchup fish draft. But from what we had prior to mids, this team is a vast improvement. Um, I think Mega Mawile can only work if you have a lot of roles, filled that like, you can't just have Mega Mawile as the only like steel type, for example, or like
Yeah.
one of the primary rockers. Like it needs mods that can cover the roles that it's supposed to fill, but can't really do that well. So I think like, with things like Skarmory, Nidoqueen, stuff, like mods that can take those like kind of role filling jobs, like Mega Mawile can excel. And yeah, I think we changed that team with only like I think like 2 transactions, and the rest came from trades. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely made out that way.
But actually, it was a very heavy trades mids. Like, I don't think we've ever seen a mids that kind of trades heavy. Was interesting to see
Hundred
because it felt
percent.
like every day there was just another trade going through, and it's like typically we see 1 to 2 trades a season, unless like Roar's involved, and Roar hasn't touched the video game in about 5 years. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think I don't really know why that was the case this season.
because it wasn't
I
exactly
guess
like number of
everybody wanted
transactions
something from
was
somebody else.
yeah, it wasn't exactly like the number of transactions was super strict. Like transaction numbers were
Yeah.
generous, but yeah, you still just saw a lot of trades. And then of course
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
get to
I
your
don't really know what
wheelhouse.
the explanation was.
Yeah. We get to your wheelhouse here. Like the Oris teams, yeah, they're just super solid. Really nice iteration of like the Lando Team Mega Main idea of like you get your spinner, you get your extra pivot mon, and then just chuck a Kieran Black on it because that's what you do. But
Yeah. Um. Yeah. My mindset for Oras was I just wanted to use specific months. Like going into drafting, I really wanted a Kieran Black team. I really wanted a Keldeo team.
yeah,
Um, and so I just tried to make them work the best way I could. Um, I don't think my Oras drafts are perfect. Um,
no, definitely not. Yeah,
but that's from like I've never I've never really drafted Oras teams myself in a team tour. So, and this like was basically all me along with Jake as well, like kind of giving input. So for my first attempt, I don't think I did too bad.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy using the teams. They're definitely up my alley, like just like bulky offense is my type of deal. So,
yeah,
and yeah, the Thoras too very much reminds me of the team I was like using a lot in DPL, like the last DPL where it was like Mega Charizard X, like Thundurus, Metagross, Blastoise. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm enjoying using the teams a lot.
Oh, for sure. Like they do just look like teams that are solid enough. Like we've seen the success of Keldeo, Weavile, Mega Delayed in terms of that thing's overall just had like a really good event. Like I haven't fully sat
Hmm.
down and looked at the numbers, but it just seems like Mega Delayed in general has done well. And then yeah, the
Yeah,
Lando Team Mega Main
I used to
teams
be a
always do
Mega
somewhat
Blade
solidly.
hater.
So
Yeah, I definitely used to be a Mega Blade hater, but from building with this spawn, I think it's definitely solid. It's worth
oh
its
for
price
sure.
for sure.
Yeah. No wonder it got the prize rise.
Yeah,
And then just touching on VGC briefly,
yeah.
like, it's all going well. The Ogrepon team is positive. You've the neutral Chimpao team.
I can't help you.
Yeah.
I
We'll
can't say nothing.
we'll just kind of gloss over it here. You know, it's just to mention. It's just to mention it. Just
Shout out to the VCC guys.
oh, for sure.
They put it in the work. Um, Esther um has been like I'm glad that they like Esther and what is it, Coda Niche, like they've been able to work together very well. They have their like VGC helpers in the team, but like those two pairing like together, they know like each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I'm proud of them for like kind of doing their own thing in their own little island.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I cannot help in that tier. I
that's
can't.
that,
I would love to, but I can't do nothing for them.
that's how
So
every server works. It's just like your two VGC guys on an island, maybe a couple helpers that they'll get in, and like it's such a key thing
yeah,
making sure you get VGC guys that complement each other. And it seems like it's gone pretty alright for you. You know, if you get the win this week, you go positive
yeah.
VGC for the season, and that's all you can really ask of them. I guess the
Hmm.
final,
Hmm.
well, now I have two things left to kind of touch on here. Obviously, you mentioned briefly your you plus Jake, and this has kind of been something that Addison mentioned briefly. It's kind of come up throughout the season. You know, the two E kind of, yes, you were saying this is the first time we've kind of seriously worked together, which I think is crazy. I thought you did a DPL together at some point, to be honest. But just kind of the way you bounce ideas off each other, and you both kind of think about the game in a similar way. Do you think that as a backbone has just like really helped the team because it's like you know that you can just kind of leave the SV guys with Addison, or like you'll touch up on it sometimes, but you know you
Yeah.
kind of have that two gen foundation, which a lot of teams just haven't had.
Hmm. Yeah, like me and Jake, we're very much like it's really nice because Jake is very active on our team. And so and we're very good about just bouncing off ideas off one another. So I was telling you before we started that like there's been many times where I've given him sets that have like really worked in game and vice versa. I think like yeah, he just has mastery of Ultra the Moon and Oras, along with myself. So just having somebody to consult ideas with is just incredibly valuable, right? Because like DPL, like last DPL, I definitely learned that like I need somebody who I can bounce off ideas with. Um, and like mocks are helpful. Like, of course, mocks are useful, but anybody can give you a mock, but not everybody can give you prep, like good, solid prep advice. So, in that respect, I think we have formed a very formidable core between us two in these old gens.
Yeah, 100%. It's worth a treat. And it does look like you're kind of going into this as first seed. This might age horribly, but
Hmm.
you do kind of look. Obviously, a first seed has won DCL before, unlike DPL, and there is kind of this
Hmm.
fight that's going on for that fourth seed. Would you kind of have a
Yeah.
preference in terms of a matchup? I know obviously you played Tacticians prior to Blitz and Joshua coming back, and to be fair, they haven't quite had the same impact as people might have expected. Or is it a
Hmm.
case of just kind of, so yeah, which one of the week three or the week four series? Which one do you want to run back?
Uh,
Or do you want the Armory series?
I don't know.
Because
It's
that could
hard.
happen too.
No, I definitely would prefer to be first seed playing one of Tacticians or Alliance, just because we played them. Like I think overall to matchup wise, like in terms of players, I think that like I don't know. Sorry to say that like our team just like doesn't compare. Um,
Hmm.
like I just think we have an overall better team, like player wise. So I think for any like round one matchup type deal, I just like to get, you know, the so called easier time like out the way. Just because it's like a morale booster, right? Like if you can win like the first round of playoffs versus like, I don't know, like the bottom seed team, like you just feel way more confident as a team, like just going forward. Um, so I mean, I really don't have a preference between Tacticians and Alliance. Of course, my buddy Sean is on Alliance, so I'm hoping his team does well. Um, but yeah, I think regardless, we'll be fine. Um, the Tacticians, like initial series, right? Like a lot of things kind of didn't go our way, we did get some stuff that went our way, but like I just think like in a rematch, would still be successful.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I guess we'll kind of see how the season pans out. The very best of luck to you.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
A DCL season where the Infernal Armory are in the playoffs? Is this. Yeah, this happens every season, so don't be surprised. I'm joined by Aster, as you might be able to tell.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Wow. So, yeah, I guess we might as well just hop into this, if you just kind of want to give it a quick overview of your season, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, in short, absolutely terrible. No,
God, you're so
um,
bad.
it's it's very rare that I've made playoffs as early as we did this season. Normally, we're whatever team I'm on, whether it be captaining or playing. Generally, it takes until week 6, if not week 7. To get into playoffs. But this season, we actually made it in by week 5. Now, that's heavily due to the bottom 3-ish teams being pretty bad. But I mean, we also had a very good record through the first 5 weeks. We went 3 wins, 2 draws, so no losses across the first 5. So that's really cool. That very rarely happens to any team. So we've had a pretty solid season overall, I would say. Heavily carried by Loqp, Zooch, and L5, obviously. My own performance has been kind of mid, I would say, compared to what I usually do. And, Robin's had a good season too. And I think where we've really struggled mostly is finding consistency in our 2 other SV slots. That's really been a pain point for this team. We thought that we had like that pretty secured post draft, but it's been really tough. And I think it's because we didn't go for like a really high end name other than Zooch. So it's just been Zooch and L5 pretty much carrying that format. And yeah, it's been pretty rough. Now these last 2 weeks are not really indicative of what our team is going to look like in playoffs because obviously we're not really trying since we made playoffs, and there's a good chance that we face off against both these teams if we make it to finals. The 2 last teams that we're playing in week 6 and week 7 being Judgment and Foxes. So we're not trying to give away any prep. We're not trying to do our best, essentially. We're just trying to, put up a little bit of a fight. But like I said, a lot of these results are pretty much void at this point. We don't really care. So much so that Loqp, myself, and Zooch have taken break weeks within the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, it's. I think we've had a good overall season. I love that we made playoffs by week 5, but there's still a long way to go. It feels longer than usual. When you're looking at going into playoffs after week 7, this one feels like it's going to be a really tough one, and it's because the 2 top teams are really the 2 top teams. Like before the season even started, L5 did a stream where we were ranking drafts and player drafts and full teams, and like unanimously, Foxes and Judgment were top 2 for everybody, and then ourselves were like either 3rd or 4th for most. So yeah, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough, but I'm content with the regular season thus far.
Yeah,
That's what I would say.
for sure. I think it's kind of been an unusual season in the fact of you effectively had 3 teams nailed, like locked in for playoffs by the end of week 5. And it's kind of worked out with the way your schedule fell
Hello?
that.
Oh, you cut off. Sorry, I didn't hear any of what you just said.
Oh, that's fine. Well, the video did, but sure, I'm not going to edit this because
Yeah,
why
yeah,
would I? But yeah, I think the way the schedule's worked out for you guys has been really nice because the fact that you have the 2 top teams in the last 2 weeks, and I think what's kind of unfortunate is a lot of those series between those 3 teams have been just very cat and mousey because they've all been week 6 and week 7, so there's kind of just no intel. So it makes playoffs more exciting, but it's also just very hard to get any sort of judgment going on that. Uh, to be fair, you were in a great position kind of going into mids because you had wishes into foxes. I think you were a little bit harsh there in regards to the bottom three teams are ass because, slight personal attack there, especially since he honestly should have lost that week 4 series. But the less I say about that, the better. And yeah, just wrapping up those two series, despite the difficulties in it, just puts you in a good spot. And then, you know, as for players, you're 100% right. Like, this typically doesn't happen where the top three teams on paper post auction are your top three teams. It's very unusual. Maybe, like, typically there is a team that surprises us, but it feels like that just hasn't happened this season. As for the SV thing, like you said,
Yeah, no, I think we pretty much nailed our rankings at the beginning of the season. Like it's kind of clear.
yeah, no, it's really strange. Like, you'd possibly say the biggest surprise has been Alliance, and realistically, people had them between at like sixth this anyway. So, is it really that big a surprise? As for, you're definitely right on the SV thing. Like, I think obviously this is the biggest roster that either yourself or L5 I think have ever had, and like when you look at it, that you've had what is that 9 players in SV
Yeah.
at some stage this season? Like, that is absolutely insane. So just kind of trying to find a consistency outside of Zuch and L5 is definitely going to be something that come playoffs you would like. And it's kind of hard to find that rhythm when you are doing 2 weeks of free hits, but I do back yourselves to kind of figure that out.
Hello.
Hello. God, this is
Yeah.
a shithouse recording session, but whatever.
Yeah, your connection is completely cutting out. Like I'm not hearing probably like 90% of what you're saying. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
that's
lie.
fun. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you might want to stop streaming. I'll just stay on the page that you're on the dock. That might
Oh
help.
yeah, that's possibly the issue. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll edit this
Sure.
bit out maybe if the video's not. Oh, that's a Judgment Day page. I've already done them. Uh, so I guess just kind of going into the drafts here. The main one kind of going into the kind of started out as the strong start was this Torn T team. It was kind of the only one of these Torn T Tinglu fat ones that were working out. Obviously, there's a couple losses
Yeah.
since. I think a lot of them are from getting unlucky. Well, I remember one of the Zoo
Yeah,
ones.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. The Draco miss was the big one, I would say.
Yeah, the Draco missing the
Or
Escarada.
on the Meow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserved it
But yeah,
for.
no, L5's been piloting the Tropicos team very well as well.
Yeah.
Like that team's been solid. So yeah, those two teams obviously very reflective of who's been piloting them, and so much so that you look at our SV5 and it had 0 wins up until this last week where Zuch piloted it.
Yeah.
Against Addy. So like it's a lot of it is pilot, I would say. But I don't know. I don't find our SV1 and SV2 too strong either.
Yeah, 100%.
To make such a radical change to our SV2 and like adding bundle didn't feel great and it doesn't feel great now. But I would say the last 3 teams are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They're good teams.
No, I think 3, 4, 5.
It's the first 2 that I'm like,
yeah.
eh.
I think 1 is probably less clunky than 2. I think what happened with 2 when you kind of made it is you made it a lot more like this is just going to be a weird time. And I don't think it's quite worked out for you guys because the one win basically came from hacking poor J Scurf to the ground. But
yeah, that was bad.
That was really bad. But yeah, and like that SV1 win, I think was PTK, and that was pre-mids.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that SV consistency is kind of the only chink in your armor, and that's why you're not kind of in that top 2 right now. Is you need to find those 2 slots where people can be consistent. And I think when you look at Judgment's SV and you look at Fox's SV and the consistency they have, that's where some of the issues lie. But you look at your old gens, like you have Glop, you have yourself, and then AM's had a very strong season as well. So
yeah,
like
no,
you look
for sure. It's it's been solid all around on our old gens. Even Robin, right?
Yeah, Robin's also had a great season.
Before. Yeah, so it's we're kind of carried by our old gens and by L5 and Zoot right now. I would love if somebody else in our SV slots could step up. I thought that person was going to be Jesse when he took over in week 4. And then he got a loss immediately after in week 5. So it's just been a lot of like 1-1, 1-2, 0-2, 0-3 players in SV. So it's kind of hard to find who exactly. We've been experimenting all season,
Yeah.
but we haven't really nailed down who it is that we want to take into playoffs just yet. We're gonna have to decide that by tomorrow. We're recording this on Saturday, before playoffs start. We're gonna have to figure this out soon. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a sit down discussion with L5 about this because even I'm not sure at this point.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall in that DM.
Yeah.
But like
For
that'll
sure.
be, yeah, because like this is what happens with teams sometimes. Sometimes you don't find that solution until playoffs. Like I remember that was a case of we were having serious issues in regards to this was back in Trickify like many DPLs ago, but it was the second Usum slot where we were having issues, and then that was when we kind of figured out it's like, oh, turns out Odin's just a phenomenal Usum player, especially if you give him Coco Shark. So like,
there we go.
yeah, won us the season
nice.
just off of that consistency. So sometimes you just kind of find the solution not in the way that you expect, and almost the case of just right time, right place. And to be fair, you look at all of those guys that you have slotted into SV at various stages, like they've all shown very competent results at some stage or another. So I'd back you to find one,
well,
maybe two.
Jesse, PTK, and Batty, yes. Everybody else has been unfortunate.
No, but like, you know, you look at, we know what Jay Ricky's capable of. You know, he had a very good DPL. Yes. Hycrox has had phenomenal team tours in the past. Roller K, sure, just wins things for the crack a lot. Just does super consistently across like.
The issue with Jay Ricky is that he's like had specific moments, like one turn in games where he doesn't capitalize on a situation properly, and it loses him the game.
Yep, that's SV in a nutshell.
Yeah, it really is, and like, it's a difference between going 3-0 and 0-3. It really is.
Oh yeah,
and obviously he's been piloting not the best teams because Zooch and L5 had taken SV3 and SV4, and Jay Ricky was piloting SV5 before we made the change to Ogrepon Saralege. So it's been tough for him, but I mean, look, we need to see results, and if we want to put somebody in, like we have no choice, you know.
Yeah,
it's like. We can't go off of previous seasons because obviously Jay Ricky had a great DPL. Like I was witness to that, but like as much as I want to continue to believe, I got to give people chances, especially with such a big roster. This was another big struggle this season, was just trying to fit everybody.
Yeah.
And slot everybody throughout the weeks, and you always feel bad as a captain because you're like, okay, well, this person's not playing, they probably should be, but we need to give this person a chance, and it's just that was basically us every week, and it was tough.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think you're probably not the only captains having that issue, because with the fact that the auction prices for players were a lot lower than expected, it led to bigger squads, and bigger squads come with their own issues. So, it makes perfect sense to me. I guess we'll kind of nip away from SV because we've spent, who even knows, I think a good, like, well over 10 minutes on it. So, let's just move on to SS, where I think the story is just Glop's good at SS. That's about it.
Glop's good, period.
Yeah.
Glop's a very good player. Like he's excellent support to have in every gen. And that's something that I knew dating all the way back to Mount Rushmore when I had him as a teammate.
Yeah.
And L5 knows it as well, and it was his only regret last season in DPL with Foxes was not drafting Glop. And a lot of that it comes down to his team support. He's been fantastic for us. He's been a great teammate. And he's won a majority of his games as well. So he's clearly very competent as a player. He's also a pleasure to have around in a team server. As much as he's a troll in Smogon Channel.
Anywhere. Anywhere public.
Very pleasant to have around. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But he is very pleasant to have around. He's a good guy. But he just has a very solid understanding of Swish. And I like what he's done with these teams as well. He's a big Mean Xiao fan, if you couldn't tell. Big Dragon fan as well. And I think that he pilots all these teams very well. Definitely better than I did. I got absolutely wheelchaired last week.
Yeah, less said about that, the better.
Agency zone. Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
just a master class in how to
Hey,
dismantle
yeah.
a passive team, which is what mine
I
was.
mean,
So
this is just the
kudos.
season where agency proves that he's him. So like, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's no
Yeah,
skin
no,
off your
exactly.
back,
Plus, I
really.
wasn't playing my own tier. Like,
Yeah,
come on. Like,
yeah,
let's
exactly.
be real here.
The last time you did that, you
I think
lost
I
to.
had some cool prep.
Yeah. You should just stick to your own tier because your loss list now in times you've moved out of your own tier is agency and me. So like,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
so stick to Usam,
uh,
pal.
yeah. Well, I had a really good Swish record going into this game. I think I'm
Yeah,
4-2 now in Swish. So I mean,
yeah.
it's not a
It's not
tournament. It's
bad.
not a format that I'm uncomfortable with at all.
Yeah,
I just happened to run into a difficult matchup and a player who's very hot right now. So,
exactly.
um, but yeah, no, I don't care that I got 6-0. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, Loqp is fantastic with these teams. He's got a great grasp of the utilization of these mons, and I have full trust and faith in him every single week.
yeah. As you
That's
should.
that's
Like
the most I can say about this.
he's been so consistent for so long at this point that it makes complete utter sense. I really do love that SS1
Yeah.
though. It just kind of covers. It's the perfect blend between like boring SS stuff and also I'm taking advantage of these new tiers and I'm going to grab stuff that's fun, like Zygar. So like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, a lot of what you see on this team was done at mids.
yeah,
The top four stayed the same. The bottom four all changed.
yeah,
And it's only because Theo really wanted Nido Queen
yep,
that we were able to pull this off
classic
because we were
Theo.
able to grab their Eldegoss.
Yeah,
Yeah. Without Eldegoss, I don't think that this team makes sense
it,
because
yeah, it
there's
doesn't.
removal necessary for like Weavile and Crobat
Yeah,
for more offensive sets. So Eldegoss is kind of the glue here that makes everything look decent. And no, I'm a big fan of this SS1. I'm really
yeah,
I think we all really like it. The colors are beautiful as well,
yeah.
as usual.
It's not Armory if you're not mentioning color schemes, whether that be L5 yourself
Exactly.
or Darkrai. So
Yeah, yeah, we love colors, man.
yeah, I mean,
What can I say?
that's a great team motto. Infernal Armory. We love
Yeah.
colors. Good luck selling that one in
So
future
yeah.
seasons. Then I guess we get to your bread and butter, like you said kind of earlier.
Yes.
Bit of a strange season for yourself. Very kind of up and down.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like struggling a bit for
So
momentum at times, but I'll let you go into it further.
so I will say, I hacks me pretty hard in our game.
Yeah.
I think I should be one game up from where I am. Like it was like consecutive turns of crap happening. Like the vacuum wave crit on my Kartana put it in range of Plasma Fists, and then I had to switch into Spirit Tomb, take the Plasma Fist, and get the Wisp off so that I wouldn't be in range of fists, and then I missed the Wisp.
Yeah.
So it was it was a bad time in that end game. I kind of choked the early game as well against the Kangaskhan. I also didn't know that Avalanche was negative priority. I thought it just got a boost if it went second. That's something I
Okay.
should have known,
Yeah.
and I didn't.
You've been playing Mons
So
how
I
long?
thought that I was faster. Yeah, exactly. You think I would know that? Yeah, but I thought my Nidoking was just faster than the Kangaskhan, and it turns out it wasn't.
Yeah.
I should have just gone to Tomb. I was afraid of Tomb taking damage because if I let both Nidoking and Tomb get too low, then Zera could have spun out of control.
Yeah.
But I decided to just sack off the Nidoking, and I brought down the Kangaskhan with me, but it put me in a really tough position later game when it ended up being Scarfed Zera Aura, which was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What's going on here? I didn't see this in box at all. Like, so yeah, that was rough. But other than that, I think that my season's been okay. I'll be real. This Awesome 1 is really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Zardex personally, and I've always struggled to use it in the past, but this team feels really good with it. I will say this was originally supposed to be a Mega Kang team, and we got sniped in like round 5, and
Yeah.
we pivoted to Blastoise because we saw Zardex was still on the board. So we just pivoted to Blastoise Tomb, and then we got Zard later, and it actually ended up being a really cool core. The classic Kartana Coco Zardex core, but
just with the
instead of
Torn.
Coco, it's Torn, right? Which does make the team a lot weaker to opposing Torn and
Yes.
Dark types, I will say.
Yeah.
This is where this team struggles a lot, I've noticed in prep, is against opposing flying types like Pidge and and Torn, and especially against dark types. It's very hard to switch into all those mons.
Yeah, not having a dark resist. Not having a dark resist definitely kind of doesn't work out. But at the same time, you can get away with it because of, unless you do run into very specific stuff. Like Weavile, one that comes to mind, and one that this team did run into being Mega Sharpedo. Which, yes, Coco Shark is just broken, but, you know, I digress.
Yeah. Yeah, the Shark was definitely tough. And I wasn't positioned properly into it by the time it came out, so it was quite rough. But yeah, no, just dark types in general. Like even the Hoopa that I brought was always slated to be a problem. It didn't end up being scarfed, so my Cortana would have won the game if it would have lived Plasma Fist. But you know, anyway, I digress. I still like the team. I think that it's solid. If it had a dark resist over the Vikavolt, I think that's where this team gets really good, and that's something that I should have considered, because you can get away with not having a flying check because you have bulky mons and like Nidoking, Blastoise, AV Torn, even like Spadef Zard X, so you can get away with it. You cannot get away without a dark resist because people will take advantage of it here. So that's the change I would have made.
You're also calling the Vikavolt a flying check when it's still neutral, so like.
No, but it was originally an Ampharos.
Oh, that is true.
To a Vikavolt because I realized this team didn't necessarily need a flying check, and I just wanted more breaking power. So.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like
that's.
Yeah, it was a bit of a risk. Didn't quite work out, but that's solely because you ran into Sharpedo. That's it. Like Usum's not really a dark heavy gen, so. And the other two teams do look solid. Usum 3, another attempt of Zevil Corona with a magic bouncer. Like we've seen that a little bit. We've seen that constantly this event. Very old school team, but also quite cool.
L5's concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is L5's awesome concept. He wanted me to do this. The idea is that Volcarona gets a setup turn for free somewhere, and then the Revenge Killer has to be Scarf Flying Move or Scarfed Stone Edge, and you try to take advantage of that with Mega Diancie or
Ferrothorn,
a fighting type, ideally.
Yeah.
Right? So the setup mon on the back end of a Scarfed Stone Edge would be like Scrafty, or like we looked at Conkelder and stuff like that. But we saw that Weavile was available and that ate away all our points, so we weren't able to get Conk. I originally really wanted Conk on this team, but L5's like, but it's a Weavile.
It is a Weavile.
Right,
yeah.
We'll get Weavile. So this is L5's passion project, so much so that he's using it this week.
Yeah. It does look like an L5 team.
Yeah, it does. The team is 1-0. I won with it, but I had to hacks the fuck out of Lux to do it. So,
true.
You know, it was and in person too.
That's very true.
We were sitting across from each other. That was the most awkward
thing
ever.
You just look up, awkwardly smile at him, and mutter the words "I'm sorry."
Like, no, dude. At some point I was like, "Can you hit a move, man?"
Oh no. Yeah, no, that game was bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you just.
I mean, yeah, I should have lost that game. This team should be 0-1.
Yeah, no, it's kind of those 2 weeks. Your team just had plot armor, and it's like, hopefully you haven't used it all up.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Now, Usum 2 is my own passion project, actually. I don't know if you remember NPL Season 8.
I do, because I'm old.
I used Coco Mega Arrow, actually, and that's the season that I won the chip.
Timer gauge.
I was like, I want to build Coco Mega Arrow again. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing. There's so many young people in the draft these days. They probably don't even know what that means. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
We'll do.
Yeah. NPL was one of the biggest leagues at the time around. With in conjunction with the GPA. NPL was the biggest like showdown players, and the GPA were the biggest channels.
Wi-Fi content people. Yeah.
YouTube. Exactly. So yeah, that's so I was playing. In NPL Season 8 in conjunction with playing in GBA D-League, I believe, that season.
Yeah, that checks out.
Both. Yeah, and I ran Coco Mega Arrow, and it felt really good. The concept is that because Coco and Arrow are so fast, you need to dedicate multiple mons as Scarfers into them, and it leaves a lot of room for easy revenge killing and setup opportunities. And that was the idea of Latios, Superior, and Diggersby. As a breaker. Diggs was on the original team. I think that it's a very, very underrated ground type in Usum. And it's been getting the job done quite a bit. The team is 1-1. I won with it earlier this season and against iPro, I believe. and who was it that piloted it most recently? I think it was
AM last week.
last week. Yeah, and I would argue, choked the game away at the end when he switched out Arrow. It had a curse up, and it was only revengeable by Zapdos, which would have won the game. Which would have lost them the game if Zapdos had to revenge Arrow, because Coco would have set up on it and won from it. But yeah, so anyway, doesn't matter at this point. But yeah, that's I'm really a big fan of this team. The Clawitzer and Pangoro can definitely be something else, but I think the top 6 is really strong. So
yeah, 100%.
That's just my take. I think some teams are like in the 80th percentile of how good some teams can be. On average. So like somewhere around there. I don't think that they're master classes in any way, but I think that they're solid enough to get by.
Yeah, especially seeing as there's kind of been no standout USM teams looking at it. People aren't just looking at teams and be like, oh my god, that's a core that needs to get copied for the next like year. There's kind of been none of that. Yeah. So 80th percentile is pretty damn good.
It's been very creative. Yeah, it's not bad.
So I guess just kind of moving on to Auras here. Like I said earlier, AM had a very good season. This RS2 is a bitch. Yep. Having dealt with it myself, that team can die in a hole. But yeah, no, like you just kind of look at it, really diverse drafts across it. This RS1, it just very much speaks to me. It's kind of the way that I approach the game. Maybe not the Jolteon because it's not 2016, but
Jolteon is actually kind of the glue here.
It's done kind of all right, yeah.
It really makes
you need the top speed, so I get it.
It makes the team function. You do. Otherwise, this team is very middling.
Yeah.
With Jolteon kind of ensures you have a pretty consistent revenge killer on this team, which it otherwise doesn't really have.
Especially in the Torn matchup, which is looking kind of annoying otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, unless you have Jolteon around, things like that, you're just going to have to run multiple Scarves across your team like Keldeo Latias every week. And that's really not ideal. Being that Latias is like the main form of removal here, unless you're bringing Skunk, in which case you're not even bringing Jolteon, so you don't have that speed, right? So you can see the way that it gets a little bit messy if Jolteon's not there. Now Jolteon's been pretty solid on this team overall.
Yeah.
Our Auras 2, like you said, is a bitch to deal with. It's difficult to build with, though, I will say.
Yeah,
because
I can see that.
The top end doesn't really check anything.
Yeah.
It's very like Ice Week. So it's like it has good matchups, but it also has really bad ones.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm sold on it being like really good, but I mean AM's used it very well.
Yeah.
It is 2-0, so And then our Auras 3 actually underwent a big change at mids. And we shifted to Mega Gera Entei. And I've really liked it. Thus, since then, Loqp used it last week, and he showed just how good Entei can be.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm a huge fan of Entei in Auras. And I think, other than the team's only removal being Latios, I think the team is really strong.
Oh, I would agree. It also very much looks like a U team, but I don't know. Do I just see any team with a Mega Gyarados on it and think it looks like a U team? But
That's fair. Yeah. I see where you're coming from, but it does look like a me team. These are all mons that I would use.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Like, so Zlando, Zlati, like just slap this in Usum and you'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing it. Yeah. Maybe Z Kofag over one of the top 2.
True.
I don't know.
I'm not sure if the Clefairy survived though. Not an Usum.
No, the Clefairy is good. The Clefairy is good on here. You definitely need the fairy, otherwise you're switching Ferrothorn into every dragon move every.
That is very true. So I get it, but I also think can't you get away with like 3 points Slurpuff in that gen? So.
No, it's a little higher.
Oh damn, yeah.
Yeah.
That hasn't quite had
the extra rocker because otherwise it's really just Ferrothorn running it every week because Lando doesn't want to run it here. So.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, they're really solid teams. And like I said, AM's definitely had a bounce back season after a couple relatively not great ones in Auras that we've seen. But it's kind of nice to see him back in form. Maybe we'll get back to the era of AM 22K. What the people want. Then just a quick note on VGC here. Like we've said it multiple times that Robin's done well.
Mm-hmm.
And
the teams are really cool as well. I love what he's done with the Dragapult team as of late. It's had really cool results. The Terraflying Dragapult was really cool to see. And the VGC2 team, because Robin hasn't actually used VGC3 at all. That was Aragon last week. That lost with it, but the VGC2 team is really interesting because that Cleavor has put in a ton of work, and the terrain duo in Indeedee and Crown has also done wonders. And he's used this very effectively. So I'm really impressed by this team. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was this season. So yeah, that one's really cool. Yeah, I really like VGC 1 and 2. 3, I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like it has a lot of points of being able to be exploited. But the other two teams, I'm very satisfied with, and we trusted Robin with the whole process, obviously, with between drafting, building, testing, and playing. So we've hardly even touched VGC at all. We kind of just let Robin, Aragon, and a little bit of Jesse as well. Jesse has some proficiency in that format as well, so they've kind of taken the reins down there. So they've been doing very well. I'm very happy with that with those results.
Yeah, for sure. I guess just kind of one last thing in terms of, you are at the position. I don't think you can get first seed at this point. So I'm just going to put it nice and simply to you. Would you rather deal with Judgment first or Foxes first?
Judgment. And I'll tell you why. Because I hate back-to-back rematches.
Fair.
Personally.
Honestly, very fair.
And it's not because Foxes are in first. It's mainly because of that. Like I don't want to face the same team 2 weeks in a row. That just feels awful in this format in team tours, because you basically less so this time around, because we're not in a position where we have to where we're like opportunity costs, where you absolutely have to make playoffs and you have to show off everything that you've got in week 7. So it's not as bad this time around. But I think I'd still like to go Judgment into Foxes, also for the principle of like taking down the second best team and then taking down the best team to win the title, because that would feel like a more rewarding path. I feel
you do have the seeds fucked up, but I will let you be. And on that note,
really?
I guess, no.
Are they swapped?
Yeah, Judgment are first right
now. Oh shit! Okay, hold on. Well, that might not be the case after this week. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know you just kind of thought Zing, and it's like, oh, of course he's first seed, but no, that's actually not true.
Yeah.
But whatever happens, okay, but whatever happens, we'll see what happens, and let's see do you go back to back. The very best of luck with it.
Dude, I would love that. That was our goal this season, so hopefully we can get it done. And it's going to take a lot of buying in from a lot of the players going into playoffs, but I think we can do it. So let's go, Armory. We got this.
It is safe to say that this has been a long time in the works, because this man is impossible to get a hold of. Although, thankfully this time, I am joined by GeniusX to discuss Zero Fox Given. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. I believe this is my second time on TJ's channel. Nice to see you all here again.
Yep, exactly. And this time was far more difficult to schedule than the first. The less said about that, the better. But yeah, I think it's kind of the surprise to absolutely nobody that you're in a comfortable position. Maybe surprising of second seed compared to, your usual first seed. Maybe that suits you this time. Who knows? But
yeah, I think usually, I think it's the same case with Judgment Day as well, right? It's not exclusive to us, where we pretty much got locked because of the nature of how the season went. We were locked like week 5 or week 4 even. So we both kind of just troll the rest of the weeks, and we didn't really care about standings, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what playoff seedings are, I think.
Yeah.
As long as you make playoffs, it's completely different ballgame from there. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, that was just very apparent from kind of once you had that week 4 win against Tacticians, like, it was done for, because you're at 8 points, you're fine.
We were yeah, and there were 2 teams that didn't have any points then, so
yeah,
the playoff race was not very exciting. So
exactly, you lost to one of those 0-point teams, so shut
your
mouth.
We did lose to you guys, I think.
But yeah, so like, you even look at that Armory series, it didn't even finish. You just kind of dead gamed because the seedings were locked at that point. So
yeah, exactly.
I guess just briefly going over like the performances of your players, you look at that SV record, incredibly impressive, just across the board. The Sage kind of being the only blot, which was surprising kind of at the start of the season, and then pretty consistent across Sword and Shield, Usum, mixed bag, Oris, mixed bag, and then VGC doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it did at mids. So very much.
Caper, let's go. All right, but I think SV has definitely been our strong suit. Right? I checked the doc right after week 7 ended, and our SV cumulative record was 20-7. And then the next strongest was, I believe, Judgment Day at 17-11. So before playoffs started, we were 4 games ahead of the next best SV team in terms of SV records only.
Yeah.
And a large part of it is, I think, our SV3, our SV4, and our SV5 were undefeated after mids.
Yeah, huge part of it. Like
they were cumulative 10-0, all 3 of them combined, which, I think they're very good drafts. And Sage did, probably for her standards, underperform a bit, but I think a large part of that is because her draft is just not as strong as the other drafts we have. She has sort of like her distinct style, but it's not that strong into the current meta developments. Like, basically, it's not that great into all the pivot spam stuff between Petra and the Momomola and whatnot. So I think that was probably the biggest reason for her not performing as well as what her performance and standards usually indicate in past seasons. But obviously, she's still a great player. So yeah, I think overall, obviously, our pilots are extremely strong. Mind, Ryan, who also put up a 3-0 performance after mids, and then Undead, Kynan, and I also dabbled into SV for majority of the season. So a combination of like good drafts and strong pilots, I think, helped us a lot. And also, obviously, 2 of the 3 drafts that went undefeated after mids have Toxapex and Corviknight on them. So, which is pretty funny because everybody was laughing at us drafting 2 Toxapexes at the start of the season. But obviously now it even got a point raised recently in seasonal, I believe. So it's sort of like able to identify trends and then capitalize on mons that we believe are good, as well as just having strong pilots in general.
For sure. You might be foreshadowing a topic later, just in terms of why is there always just a regen mon that looks underpriced that people abuse in every event. Slowbro next, I would assume.
Well, I don't think I tried to draft Galarian Slowbro, but I know my team wanted it.
Yeah, I think regular is probably next one up. So yeah, obviously we are recording this after the round 1 playoff series against Tacticians, which I think was a series that kind of ebbed and flowed, went in very different ways, a lot of unexpected results. Do you kind of want to touch on that briefly?
Not really, because I kind of lost our team the week, or not lost. My loss or my choke or my misplay ended up making it so that we're now in tiebreaks instead of in finals. But it was a very unexpected series all around. I think nobody really would have expected us to win the VGC game going into the week.
Yeah,
and then obviously, I think me losing was probably also kind of unexpected. Although Helen's also a great player.
Yeah.
I was 6-0 going into the game, but I just historically have not been able to perform in playoffs sometimes, which is unfortunate. But I think those 2 games are probably quite unexpected by probably just bystanders and spectators. Everything else sort of back and forth, but I think those 2 are the main ones, I'd say.
Even Sword and Shield as well was kind of, I know C was kind of a red hot favorite just due to her form. I know it hasn't been quite as good the last couple of weeks, but I think
I would say Nim has been quite impressive, right? I think he's 4-0 now after the win.
Yeah. He's been phenomenal.
So he's kind of like been popping off after mids for Tacticians, which is a huge reason they've managed to claw back into playoffs in the first place. So he's been impressive himself.
Who needs post mids Blitz and Joshif when you've got Nim,
Exactly. Yeah.
No, so I think it's like you go into that tiebreak. It is 3 rematches, which is incredibly annoying for everyone all around, really.
Well, more so for us, I want to say, right? Because all 3 of the rematches we won the previous match.
Yeah.
And I think the common consensus is that the team, unless it's like an extremely favorable matchup, which none of these are, the team that won the previous matchup it's harder for them to shift or change from what they pretty much assume to be their best team, since obviously they won. And the rematch, they know what cards we've shown, and they're able to adjust and sort of prep based on that information, right? They have more room for adjustment because they know what they brought last time didn't work.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think the big one there is that Usum matchup where I think there was kind of, you look at that on paper and it should be a lot more, it shouldn't be anywhere near as comprehensive as it was for Undead initially. So I'm kind of interested. That's the one to me that kind of stands out the most. VGC, we'll see.
Right. And
Like,
it's interesting, right? Because we were debating choosing not Usum. We're debating coming into the week. We're like, if we go to tiebreaks, we're most likely choosing Sword and Shield because our matchups were much better than our matchups in Usum. But at the same time, Undead's much more comfortable in Usum than he is in like SV, for example. Or I guess not much more comfortable, but it's his home tier, right? Like if we picked SS, it would have been me playing Sword and Shield and then Undead playing SV. But
I guess
it was it was just a very dominant performance in that matchup. But again,
it'd be the exact same player matchups, just swapping tiers. Because I imagine Toxic would go to SV and then Hob would go to Swish. So could be the other way around.
I think that would be the other way around if we end up.
I mean, could go either way. Tacticians are fairly like versatile in that regard.
I just think they were probably always going to pick VGC against us. Even though they lost it.
It's
in the main
tradition.
week.
It's tradition to have VGC in tiebreaks and DCL. We know how this works.
Right. I mean, they drafted Hopeless with the intention of having him start, and I think Hopeless is like on paper favored against every VGC in the pool except for maybe Sven or Trace.
Yeah.
But at least against all the playoff teams, I think it would be kind of a throw not to put Hopeless in the tiebreak position if he's able to play.
Yeah. So. Interesting that this is kind of where we see C in VGC. I know she does have a bit of a background in like doubles OU and stuff like that, so that'll be interesting to see. But
yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like we obviously trust C, and it'll also manage to beat Hopeless last week as he put up a phenomenal performance. But I think it's nice to sort of have like a change in perspective, especially when it comes to playing the same player. Sometimes, if you get stuck in the same mindset, you end up. I think a good example of this is our ORAS game was a rematch this week from week 4, I believe.
Yeah, it was week 4.
And we ended up bringing. And it was the same matchup, right? And we ended up bringing a pretty similar team to last time. And obviously, Toxic ended up winning vs Mayo this time around.
Yeah.
So I've always been adamant, or not adamant, but like I've always preferred to sort of switch things up in rematches, I think, in general. Or even just looking at it from a news perspective to be able to sort of identify if there is even an option to change. Whereas I feel like if you're stuck in an old perspective, you just don't even explore alternatives in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it'll be interesting to see, especially with like that Usum game. I think is just the thing with rematches, especially in tiebreaks where it's less games, so you're just kind of more knuckled in. So we'll kind of see how that pans out. And it'll be interesting to see kind of getting the perspectives on both sides going into this. So I guess the delays of this vid have worked out accidentally.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? It's technically better for K-Crook, who's on vacation this week.
Yeah.
If we do match in the finals, he'll be back in Sydney for finals. But at the same time, like I really wanted DCL to end ASAP, bro. I can't wait for this tournament to end.
It's been a long season.
It's honestly so hard to juggle grad school starting and DCL at the same time. So,
exactly. Like I think the shift in the timing has actually not worked out for a lot of people in comparison to what it looked like it would be initially. Like that was actually an issue we had with so many of us were just busy during the summer, and we just didn't have the time to commit. Whereas if it was in September, we actually potentially would have. So it'd be interesting to see.
It's funny, right? Because like different times work for different people. So there's always going to be a time that's bad for some people and time that's bad for another individual. Yeah, but at least for me personally, like I can't wait for this tour to end. Obviously, I want to win. I don't want to lose. I don't want to end on a loss. But at the same time, it's like it would feel so good to be able to like go back to living a normal life and be able to focus on school compared to diverting a lot of my attention into Mons.
Yeah, that's fair. Give yourself a couple months respite, and then DPL 10 rolls around, and the whole cycle begins again.
Well, I'm not planning on captaining for DPL, but
Don't lie.
so we'll see how we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But you won't be seeing me captain.
Well, we know what you're like, but I guess we did kind of spend a lot of time just focusing on SV, so I guess we'll just kind of quickly go over the other metagames. I know I was discussing with Kakrik after, like, once mids was finished, and it kind of seems that what was happening a lot with your teams was that there was a team that you just didn't use. It seems like Horus was the only one where the team you didn't use actually got multiple games, which is interesting because you kind of spent so long. Those were kind of the teams that you focused on, whereas the ones you just weren't bringing, because it's like there has to be a reason behind it. So how have you kind of found that, and is it not kind of gone as hoped?
It's interesting because like some of these drafts specifically are counter teams in a sense against specific teams. Obviously, I'm not going to reveal which teams they are for.
Just in case.
That will kind of ruin the surprise. But so that's mostly why a lot of them, especially, haven't been bought. In Oras's case, it's funny because we have pretty much two Oras mains between Chipboard and Mayo, and they have very distinct styles. Whereas for the other tiers, it's like for Usam, like all of our players are going to be working under Kakrik and I. So it's mostly going to be like we're going to be in the same accord. We're going to have the same opinions about drafts and Mons in general. Whereas for Oras, we have distinctive drafts for our players, right? Which is why all three of them ended up getting same play compared to our other gens, which is pretty fun.
For sure. Like, it's funny. You can kind of look at them and you know which one's the chip drafts and which one are the Mayo.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I mean, even if I don't say it, it's not that hard to figure out which.
The two of them are just so stylistically different that kind of works out.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And like, even looking at SS, like that SS1, started off really well, kind of hasn't at the best. I think the last 2 times it's been brought, it lost. I think that's correct.
They lost to. I did lose this week. I don't remember which one the other loss was.
Was it not against? Was it against us? Did he bring it? No, it wasn't. That was SS2. That was SS2.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was against.
Yeah, it's whatever sees.
I think it might have been pretty good. Yeah, it might have been pretty good. But I think the SS1 is a really fun team, personally.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
Yeah, I think it probably could have a better record, but I mean, it's still positive, right? So
yeah, exactly. That's a win.
Yeah,
because
I think our other SS drafts are pretty fun as well. Our SS2 and our SS3 is a bit more out there, but I think it's also very enjoyable if you were to load it.
Kind of wish it got more play because I think there would have been times where just kind of having that element of surprise, but maybe just having it as a bluff also helped out in its own way. But
I mean, you never know, right? We could be bringing it in finals if we make it.
Maybe.
So.
Yep. No leaking, just in case. Addison is definitely watching. So.
But
yeah, no, for sure. Like, as we said, a lot of kind of your team's success has been on these SV drafts, and that's kind of why you see a little bit more, all over the place in regards to these 4 tiers, like VGC.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're still positive in a lot of these tiers. I think we are in all except VGC, or maybe we're even after this week. I'm not exactly too sure, but
even
it's just like SV. Our SV has been like extremely good, right? Which makes it so that our other tiers look mediocre by comparison. But like against like the general playing field, I think we're still in a pretty good position in all of the tiers except for VGC.
Yeah, exactly, and just that was what was expected on paper, and that's exactly what's panned out. And I guess all that's left to see is how this final star break plays out, and the best of luck to all 3.
Thank you very much. I guess you'll be hearing from Tacticians' perspective next, so we'll see how it goes.
Exactly. I'm staying neutral for the sake of content, so no biases here.
Yeah.
Guys, I tried really hard to get Hav onto this video. It did not happen. He is an impossible man to get a hold of. So instead, I ended up with someone that was just as hard to get a hold of, who talked about Tacticians. Welcome back, Loqp.
Yeah. What's up, bro? To be fair, Abada lives deep down in a forest. Sometimes it was hard for me to catch him. And I don't even think he has a phone.
Yeah, them New Zealand forests are built different.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say this is the case of leaving the best to last, because holy, what a mid-season he had. Like, it's genuinely ridiculous, because we were talking at the mid-season video. We were like, oh, you're in a great position. You've Blitz and Josh should have come in, and all should be fine. You go in, you lose the Foxes series, that's fine. You initially draw the Surface series, and it's like, ooh, you might be in trouble. Lose to Yoshi's, and it's like, okay, maybe this hasn't quite gone to plan. And then one reverse decision because of an illegal terror, and then you just absolutely annihilate the Lions. Do you want to kind of talk about that? How was that in terms of like the feeling of it's so over and we're so back, like so quickly?
It wasn't like up and like that from the inside. It wasn't that much up and down. I think like throughout the whole season, we kind of had issues like with the level of like effort and activity put in the games, where I was always a little bit worried. I think pre-mids, I'm not sure. Like obviously we could still skill diff like a few teams, right? But just like making it in the playoffs, like I knew it was gonna be hard to get like everybody going. Like I think a lot of good players on the team were like super busy in real life, which made it really hard for to get consistent effort, right? And I think you and I both know that you cannot win a team tour without strong, consistent effort, right? Even if you skill diff, you can't.
Yeah. Unless
so that was like my biggest worry. Go ahead.
Yeah. The only exception to that is a small army of helpers, which, not naming any names just yet, but if you know, you know.
Yeah, and so yeah, the results, like sometimes I wasn't even surprised. Like I would do my best. Some of us would do our best to cover, but sometimes it was just like really hard to get some mocks, to get like everybody fully ready. So yeah, every week I was somewhat worried that I was never going super confident, right? And there's so many games that like the matchups were good. The player matchup was good, where like we just lost out of sheer lack of effort, right? And it's funny because it's not usually the type of team I draft. I usually draft like focused on being active, right? Going on voice channels, like just doing a bunch of mocks, having like everybody like uplifting each other. Where like it wasn't really like that, as like everybody was busy. Maybe part of it was because it's the summer. I was post DPL, right? So some of the players might have been burnt out. Oh, tough to say.
Yeah, for sure. It seems the summer move has really worked out a lot for people, that they would have kind of preferred that September window that it had last year, which is interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, it's like what, North American summer, which is like the bit where the biggest player base is.
Yeah.
So right. Yeah. So it's that time of the year where like you don't want to be locked inside playing video games and like spending hours and hours.
Yeah, I know. I know I've made that joke. I know I've made that joke already, but like Mons players do touch grass sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you. No, actually, I'm not gonna reveal anything. I can't. I don't know where you want to go. I don't want to reveal stuff.
Yeah, you do you, man.
Yeah.
And then obviously you kind of had that 7-1 momentum from that final week. Got the 3rd seed, which I think was kind of a surprise across the board.
Yeah.
You go into that series against Foxes, cause a few major upsets, and that series in general just didn't really go the way anyone expected it. Like, Yi lost in PGC, but then like Helm 6-0 Zing, like it was just a bit of a bunker series. Nim just wiped the floor with C as well. So it was like, it was one of those series that no one knew what way it was going.
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was going to be a tight series from the beginning. But there's only like a handful of games that were purely decided um on like skill. There's a lot of games that like were hacksy. And then I think the Zing game, like Zing just absolutely choked. Like he shouldn't have lost that Excalibur. That matchup was like horrendous for us. It was really good for him, right?
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
I mean, obviously, like at this level, you make one mistake and the game can be over, and that's what happened, right? I think it was Excalibur got 2 DDs off, and he just couldn't do anything. So yeah, that was the Zing game. There's a few. I think there's 2 games where like we lost to hacks and Zing choke. So like, yeah, maybe in the end it was somewhat fair, right? And then obviously the tiebreaker happened, and they just read us. There's nothing to say. They just read our prep. It was especially the Habada Zing game, and then Toxic just had nothing faster than a Kieran Black, so it didn't work out.
That was a bit of a sad watch, to be honest, because it was like he was in such a good early game position, and then the Kieran Black came out, looked like it had about 3 items, and just soloed. It was not ideal.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it's funny, right? Because it was a pretty bad Kieran Black matchup. But you're facing like Jirachi, Guard of Wars, Crafty. This is an awful Kieran Black matchup, and it pulled down because like Guard of War was slower, Jirachi was dead, and there was no Crafty, and
Yeah.
And nobody had a boosting item or was faster.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
about the size of it.
Even in the tiebreak. Yeah, and I know like the ZFG, this series was also pretty crazy, like on both ends. I know ZFG Cake was on vacation, right? So it was really hard for him to like put in a lot of work. And for us, both Habada and I got sick. So it was really hard for us like to cover for everybody, right? And we left some games uncovered. And like you can definitely see like some of the games where like the prep was a bit more lackluster on our end, that we just fully
not
covered.
naming any tiers in particular. Sorry, Max. Sorry, I got something stuck. I got something stuck there in my throat. Yeah, that wasn't great. But no, you can definitely kind of. It was definitely a messy series on both sides because, like you said, the 2E sick, Taker on vacation for tiebreak, Zing having just started grad school, and he's impossible to get a hold of firsthand.
Yeah, Zing had to do like everything, right? And then me and Hub couldn't like. I was just so exhausted by the end of that week. I pretty much didn't do anything for the tiebreak. I just made 3 mocks and then I just call it a day. Like I mocked the guys. I gave some comments, but like nothing. Like I definitely should have done more, but it's
Well, I guess the main thing to kind of ask here, because this has kind of taken a different tone with you in terms of this is now effectively your season review, when it was meant to be a playoffs preview, but that's what happens when you just can't get hold of people. So obviously this was an experience for you where you didn't play alongside Captain Ring, and I imagine that's something that in hindsight you kind of regret, because I know what you're like. We all know what you're like. You're very hands-on, and you prefer things to be in your own hands rather than in anyone else's. So how did you kind of find that experience?
I mean, regarding the situation, I don't regret not doing this, because I don't think I would have had the energy to like play and support as a captain if I actually played, considering the concussion and having just played DPL, I would have just been totally burnt out. So like that was a way of like, I want to participate in team tours. I think they're super fun. I had a great experience. But I think one of the ways that I would have liked, one of the reasons that I would have liked to play is show an example to the team that like, hey, like, look, I'm ready day one. I'm ready for mocks. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna keep mocking the whole week, and I'm gonna help everybody. I think that's the example I would have liked to show. That I usually do show, right? So I think that might have been one of the things I was missing, and but I did like getting hands on, right? Because like I think the 2 guys that was helping the most were Helm and Nim, and they ended up with great records, right? 6-2, and then Nim went 4-0. Nim's breakout season, so I know it was interesting. Habada was helping Nim as well,
Yeah.
For SS, I was helping him for Usam, but you could see that like, you know, the help actually like did have an effect, right? And some of the guys we weren't helping as much, right? And didn't have as great of a season, right?
Yeah.
But there's some games, dude, I was looking at him, I was like, oh my god, I wish I was playing. I was like, man, dude, that
Yeah.
game was so winnable. Why are we losing this?
Yeah, it's like, you know, give me your PS passcode. I'll win this end game. Like,
yeah.
oh, for sure.
Like it's a different experience, like, because I know like more often than not when a captain doesn't buy in, it's because like they're not worth the price, right? But I wanted to hit a different angle because I think at the end of the day, it's like an advantage because you have like, it's kind of, you don't pay for the support that I can provide, which is basically like 24/7 support, like no lifing that shit. So I think it's an advantage. I think honestly, one of the things I would have liked that I regret doing was looking kind of evaluating how available the players were going to be and what their summer schedule was looking like. Are you working a lot? Are you going on vacation, right? And obviously it's nothing against them, right? Because you're doing in real life shit. If you have real life shit going on, focus on that, right? I was telling him, dude, if you're online, come on, let's do some mocks. But if you have a job, if you're going on vacation, do that. I don't want you like playing Mons.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
so I think I know. So for one example is Toxic. He was on vacation for like week 1 to 7. He was always on vacation. He was like, oh, like, yeah, I'm always on vacation. Well, I was like, oh, maybe I should have, asked him before. Asked him like, hey, do you have summer plans? Or like some of the guys were like super busy with work. Or I know Faye wanted to be a DFL captain. I didn't know that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes a huge difference because you completely split your attention. And then when you're captain of a team and a player of a team, you're obviously going to care more about like being captain of a team. So it's things like that. But I think I should have known more about availability. Obviously, I know something like I checked it out with Hopeless a lot. Worlds, he went.
Yeah.
Right. We knew that was going to happen, so that was fine. So we got some VGC backup. I knew Nim was always going to be available. Obviously, Nim was going to be available. Helen was going to be available. Like, there's some guys that we knew, but like some guys we didn't ask. So I think that was a slight mistake we made. Probably the biggest mistake we made throughout the season. I think the drafts were like all right. We definitely could have won with those drafts. Yeah. And then yeah, what?
No, because I was just kind of going to say in terms of the just what you were saying. Like, yes, you can. I think that's a little bit hindsighty because let's be real here. You're not going to go asking 100+ people like, "Hey, what's your summer availability?" Like, that's just unfeasible.
Yeah.
So like, there's always going to be inherent risk behind anyone, and that could even be they're just not in the right mindset at the time. Like that can happen.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, and that's what happened. Obviously, one of the players is Joshua, right? One of the best SV players. He didn't win a single game. Like he got one win by technicality, but in theory, he lost like all 3 games, right? And we expected him to like do a lot, but he was one of the guys. Like he was working a lot. I was like, yeah, bro, like if you can't play, just don't play. Like focus on real life and like. But he just wasn't in it, right? And sometimes you just can't. But. It's something that like you have to consider, and I think it happened for like a lot of the players that were on our plans at first, and that's the mistake we made. Like some players that were on the plan, like that's fine, I get it, but some players that were on the plan probably should have asked before.
Yeah, I mean, you could also say that's inherently just like getting unlucky. So like you can see it both ways.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, because we have like on paper, we had a team that was like a bunch of guys that are like always on a computer, right? Just like they're like chronically online or in VC, right? So like most of us were like that. So it's like I was expecting like a lot more activity, right? But I know like a few players were like complaining that like the team was just dead and like nobody was putting in effort. So yeah, that was the reason of it. And like at the end of the season, you could see that effort is worth it, right? You could see definitely the standout of the season is Nim, right? This guy couldn't crack a spot in the team lineup. He was getting drafted sometimes, but like as a mocker, right? As kind of mock slave and team presence. But now he literally has the best record on the team. Started playing, went 4-0. He beat K-Crick, JCM Shadow, Super Epic Ampharos, and Lux, right? So strong opponents. Went 4-0, but this guy just put in mad effort. Got mocks from like outside the server, was like kept like mocking his team, and like obviously he needed some build support. But since he was mocking and he was like putting an effort, it made doing the build support easier because we didn't have to mock for him, right? Sometimes we had to mock for the players. So like we build them a team, we mock the team, but then if you do that for like I don't know, like 4 or 5 different players, then it starts to get a lot. I'm just exaggerating. We were doing that, but some weeks like we had to mock the players because some of them weren't available. So we're like, okay, like let's just mock for you. But yeah, I think good thing I didn't play because I wouldn't have been able to play prep my own game and do all this.
You would have driven yourself insane. Yeah, that's the crux
sure,
of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but we did have like. Go ahead.
No, you finish your point, then I will.
Yeah, no, I did like the team vibes overall, though. Like, and I think everybody knows that team was a bunch of morons, and like we had a lot of fun, like just beefing around and saying stupid stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But in the end, can't win with that. Like if you look in the server, like most messages, I don't think you're in the server. Like if you look at it, like it's just a bunch of stupid stuff. There's no like serious talk or like prep talk, right? It's just stupid stuff.
Sometimes you just gotta find the balance between, the serious and the stupid.
Yeah, we didn't find that balance, yeah.
Yeah. But you're probably the opposite problems with most teams. Most teams kind of take it too serious, and then, here's E with codenames dog and everything else.
Yeah, and Mister that we're not gonna name.
Yes. He who shall not be named.
The BEP.
Oh, God. Right. Swiftly moving on from that, I guess just kind of to briefly touch up on like anything with drafts you kind of want to specifically touch on at the minute, just to kind of, round this out. What worked, what didn't, what would you do again?
I think VGC, I think one of the common things, I'm not a VGC player, but I know we didn't have fairy resist. That was a complaint every fuck, there's a fairy type, it destroys us. And Oras, I think the Oras drafts were great.
How did you?
I think
how is your only fair? Yeah, I didn't even notice this. How is your fair resist across all 3 drafts? A Bronzong and a Hearthflame, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. So like if we face the Flutter Mane and Enam, that was really hard.
Yeah. Flutter Mane check is a Smeargle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oras, I think it was good. I think all the teams. Team 2 was like all right. Team 3 and 1 are great. I like them a lot. I think, maybe like just build and play shoe the losses. Nothing like too crazy. Obviously went positive Oras. I think Usam draft Team 3 was really, really bad. I don't know if you have the page open, but it was really bad.
I do.
Yet it's Team 1.
Yeah. See, that's so funny
Team 1
because we called Usam 3 like so cool and such like an interesting anti-meta attempt, and now here we are 6 weeks later. It's like, so that didn't work.
No, the problem is not even it's the speed. This team has no speed. So like you face Kieran Black, it outspeeds your whole team, right? Everything
it does that tier 1 anyways. If you don't prep it right, it speeds your whole team 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think team 2 was good. Max didn't like it, so he didn't really use it much.
Yeah.
Team 2 was good.
Yeah. No, Team 2 isn't a Max team. Team 2 is an Aster team. That's probably the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It looks like an Aster team, yeah.
Maybe that's just because I see a Mega Gyarados and I think Aster. But
Mega Gyarados, Sarah Storm. Yeah, that's what he had. Team 1 was good. I think we lost the same matchup twice. It was semis and tiebreakers for semis, but we had a good matchup for it was a repeat matchup and it was a good matchup. I think we just got outplayed and outprepped. So but I actually ended up liking that team a lot. I think Mega Guard was a cool pick at 10 points. I like that team a lot. Sword and Shield, the drafts were definitely bad. I don't want to say, but Team 2 and Team 3 being the same, there's no point. SV, I think one of the common things, and obviously like it comes down to the SV players, right? Their style is like we had like a lot of pivots, but not many breakers, right? Fortress, Aloe, Rotom, Cyclizar, Petulant, Aloe, Cyclizar. It's just a lot of pivots and not a lot of breakers that I think definitely good thing to look out for in the future when I draft.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably touch on that when I kind of do like SV takeaways from DCL, but like a lot of teams fell for that trap. I'm going to try put you in a loop of pivots, but also just build the offensive prowess on the draft to like make it work.
Yeah, so if you face something like a strong like setup, like as a Rude, right? As a Rude loves that type of team. Nothing can kill it because everything's just a pivot. Right?
Yep, exactly.
And it just sets up right. So this kind of mon just destroys this stuff. So like it ended up some of the matchups ended up being really hard for like almost unplayable just because of that reason where like you just don't have anything to kill stuff. Yeah. Another takeaway: Darkrai is broken. Darkrai is so good, especially in a more balanced meta where it can actually like miss Hypnosis and not care. So now you have to consider Hypnosis as a strong, viable option.
Exactly. This is why the sleep conversation came up.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I think just kind of it's interesting to kind of do this when we have, because I've ended up with 4 very different perspectives in this video, and I think that's kind of like really cool. So maybe it's worked out. Maybe it's worked out that I haven't been able to catch you about 5 different times.
Yeah, busy week, eh?
Anyways, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this kind of mini recap. I don't even know how to title this video. Like, it's so all over the place because I need to rewatch stuff I've recorded from like 3 weeks ago at this point. But but yeah, I hope you guys have all enjoyed, and I will do one last DCL vid like this with whoever comes out on top between Foxes and spoilers Judgment Day. So we'll see how that works. One of those teams will be far easier to schedule with than the other. I'm not naming names, but you got any predictions there, Lo? Just
my prediction is gonna be tight, super tight. Yeah, very tight. Judgment got the sweat advantage. They sweat like crazy. They had a break, ready to go in. ZFG, they're coming back from vacation, right? Kiker's coming back from vacation, and they've been grinding the past 2 weeks, so definitely they could experience a burnout. So that'll be interesting. So I think Judgment has the upper hand on this, but ZFG players are just so strong that you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll wrap that up in due time, and by due time, they might come out a month after the season ends. Like, who knows what these things.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.